game crashes, broken elevators,
This game's a scam.
bed logging bugs, missing items,
Stop giving them monies.
backlogged ships, mission bugs.
Star Citizen players are morons.
This game's a scam. Stop giving them monies. Star Citizen players are morons.
Ever notice that Star Citizen is like Bob's Burgers? It's a big, juicy, creative burger of futuristic space goodness with its insane ships, beautiful views, and gameplay moments that can only happen organically here. It's got other folks trying to attempt their own version of some of the recipes, like Jimmy Pesto with the Burger Ball Pit. It's also a game in development, which comes with its own built-in difficulties, like the constant setbacks that Bob's restaurant weathers from his eccentric family and other factors from thoughtless event organizers, pretentious critics, all the way to hurricanes. Star Citizen carries the burden of long development time, complex systems interacting with each other, and the inevitable bugs along the way, especially with a particular one we've seen a lot of lately. The Star Citizen Resource Drive event, which offers numerous rewards, has incentivized thousands of people to hop in for some long sessions, which in turn has exposed some pretty deep cracks in the code, as well as the beast-like tenacity citizens have with this game, instead of jumping ship like you'd expect. Not too long ago, somebody in the stream chat asked, what keeps you going in Star Citizen? And my reason and your reason may not be exactly the same, but they come from the same place. This question ain't unreasonable. You ever found yourself on the edge of leaving the game, and then you see a patch trailer pop up that make you feel that itch again? You be telling yourself, I'm done. But then somebody mentions armor specializations have been seeping in, or the stealthy prowler utility just dropped, and then
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
why is it so hard to walk away? Like, really walk away from Star Citizen? It ain't just sunk costs, it ain't hype. If you're wondering why citizens are so emotionally invested, we're gonna break down exactly what's locking folks down, like one of them guys in a toxic relationship that show up to work with a broken car window and a smile on his face. Everybody know that dude, don't act like you don't. Over 10 years ago, Star Citizen was just a man with a dream in his heart and a video camera in his face. The picture that was painted for us was that of a once-in-a-generation dream game, the one we've seen fragments of images of in our dreams since we was kids, traveling through space in a futuristic ship to go and do whatever we wanted as the star of the show. The picture wasn't just about gameplay though, it was about changing gaming itself. Back then, consoles ruled the Solarverse. If you wanted to play a big AAA game with enough capital behind it to make it really sing, you needed to be on console. And if you're on PC, maybe, just maybe, you might get a decent port of it. But games ported to PC didn't really take advantage of the superior capabilities, and sometimes they were a half-ass port that they rushed out just to get it out in time. So you used to hear the phrase consoles holding PC back a lot, when it actually was publishers and even studios holding PC back. So the man with the dream decided it was time to do what no one else would. Make a huge, big, ambitious space opera game for PC, backed by the folks who want to play it, and flip the bird at the publishers who would have scaled it down, rushed it, and ultimately ruined a good thing. This was a revolutionary thing to do in the industry where a handful of big corporations ruled the gaming landscape with an iron fist. To be an underdog going against the winds and producing a game that was bigger than the constrictive, iterative development norms that publishers insisted on was a bold move. And on top of that, it was a space game in the era where space was mostly being ignored in gaming, where everybody said, sign me up. It made you part of the dream, a backer, pioneer, someone early to something huge. But the reality hasn't always lived up to the promise. Being first to do anything means weathering a lot of storms and difficulties. For years, there were missed dates. It was to the point where the veterans among us would just add 6 months to a year to any dates that came out of CIG. There were clunky builds. Before I signed up, I remember seeing a clip from CitizenCon where NPCs were popping in and out. I was like, they really showing this at a convention? All the OGs know about the NPCs T-posing on chairs. I was destined to become a meme. So year after year, there was a cycle between hope and disappointment. You'd see the roadmap, which at the time was like 4 patches deep. You'd be like, hell yeah, we getting object container streaming or the Hornet Heartseeker in a few months. A few months later, Whatever feature you were looking forward to was taken off the new patch and placed on one 3 patches down into the future. It was a manic depressive experience. This is where most games would start losing people. Being part of something new and exciting was good, but the delays to your gaming reasons to be there were a tough blow, even though what existed in the game was obviously great when it was working. But the good times were often punctuated with 30K errors that would crash your session, leading you to start over or give up. So why are so many of us still here and the player numbers still growing? You could frame it in a psychological context. Identity attachment. Being a backer becomes who you are. Community belonging. It's not just a game, it's your org, the inside jokes, content creators you follow. Shameless plug. Variable reward loops. That one's hard to ignore. Intermittent progress happens, which keeps folks checking back in. Creative expression even. The tools to create things within the game aren't matured, but creating and participating in org events, making machinimas and economic fantasies. Oh, it's a scene, man. But underneath the criticism, the memes, the frustration, is still the belief. What if they do pull it off? What if they continue making the spoken things into real things until it's finally done? They accomplished server meshing after people called it a pipe dream, so what if? Star Citizen. A most ambitious and protracted endeavor, an intricate digital construct meticulously designed to simulate an expansive, persistent universe. It is, in essence, an anomaly, one born from an insatiable desire to transcend the limitations of contemporary interactive experiences, yet perpetually hindered by the inherent complexities of its own aspirations. The developers, akin to architects of past simulations, labor under the paradox of their own ambition, crafting an experience that seeks to achieve verisimilitude in a manner hitherto unrealized. The result is a recursive cycle of iteration, expansion, and refinement, an endeavor that, while admirable, remains asymptotically approaching a state of perceived completion. And yet, those who inhabit this simulation, these citizens, persist. They are drawn not by what is, but by what could be, embracing the illusion of progress as both their purpose and their burden. Whether this construct will ultimately reach its intended state or become yet another example of systemic inevitability remains an equation unresolved. But then, as you are undoubtedly aware, hope, the quintessential human delusion, is both the source of their greatest strength and their greatest weakness. The architect aside, Star Citizen has its version of HUGOs that make their way in uninvited, make a lot of noise, and hope for it to fail, which is lame. Go find something to like instead of putting your energy into hate. Within the community, criticism comes from folks who want to believe. Every patch that does something right, like 3.18 salvaging or 4.0 server meshing, rekindles the hope that this is real, that the dream is still alive. Years of watching people say, man, pyro ain't never gonna happen. It just floats out the exhaust as you traveling through a wormhole away from Pyro Gateway, salvaging that ship that the wind has been scraping the paint off for days after a player died in it. Keeps you feeling cozy in the verse that other people say it couldn't be. Knowing that more and more content is coming because there's no publishers to put the kibosh on it is satisfying as you spearhead a group event to take down a gigantic worm in radiation suits that you took off some renegade scientists in a hidden lab underneath an ever-present radioactive storm. So Star Citizen can be frustrating, but it pays off so well. More and more so as it matures bit by bit, even when it gets a little frustrating. Together we put up a collective middle finger to the current state of game development. Yes, there's bugs while they're building the game, but at least we're not playing the 8th sequel to Game X, which didn't take any risks, so it's just like the last 3 sequels. Our tank is bouncing around like a happy dog in the back of the ship, but at least we could drive a vehicle into a ship that we fly into a bigger ship. We're still waiting for player bases and crafting, but at least there's no EA or corporate overlords declaring it complete to rush it out the door buggy as hell for the Christmas holiday. There's not one game like it. Not one. Where else can you log in and wake up in your captain's quarters in the middle of space, stroll on over to the bridge and set a course for a wormhole that you gotta navigate without getting spit out into some random location, then make your way to some moon where your buddies are waiting for you to help them raid an abandoned mining facility and reactivate an orbital mining laser that blasts open a cave full of sandworms and valuable materials that you can mine with a futuristic Leatherman or an Aliens movie-inspired power suit that can boost jump hundreds of meters through the air. Nowhere. Nowhere's the answer. So we continue to play. Bob's Burgers has a lot of bugs and glitches in the restaurant, but apparently, once you taste the burgers, it becomes obvious that it's not just a bun and patty that you can get anywhere.
I get it now. It's complicated. It's mystical. It's barbaric.
Thank you.
You are an artist, a beef artist, a beef artist, a poet who writes with meat and buns and pickles like a greasy heterosexual Walt Whitman.
Thank you.
Star Citizen is well known for its considerable development time and bugs, but once you sit down and enter its universe, it's hard to go backwards to games that didn't take the risks to produce the space game we've been dreaming about since we were kids. It's a hell of a lot of fun and one of the best space experiences you can get. If this hit a little close to home, you're not alone, boss. Let us know what keeps you coming back or what finally made you stop. If you've been watching from the sidelines, now's a good time to get off the bench and into your pilot seat. Make an account and plug in the referral code below to make your pockets a little fatter for a better start in the verse. Thanks for rocking with your boy. Big shout out to the Huntress and to Lone Wolf, executive bosses extraordinaries. Thanks to everybody supporting the channel. Fly dirty, citizen.